Hello everybody, welcome back to another weekly market review for F45 trading. We are looking at the week of Monday, April 13th to Friday, April 17th. Now, just going to pull up the economic calendar here quickly, and first off, just want to say apologize for last week not being able to get the weekly review out like I normally do. Just with all this quarantine that everybody around the world is going through, I had a couple of projects around the house that my wife wanted me to take care of, and I started this project on Friday, and I thought I would be done by Sunday evening when I normally sit down and do my market review for the week ahead. And unfortunately, I was nowhere near done because it took me another full day to do it. So I elected instead to just do a live trading event on Wednesday, London Open. So hopefully some of you got that. I did make it public in my YouTube channel. So if you didn't catch that, you can certainly feel free to go back and watch that and see what my comments were. And as you can see from, if you did join it, from my comments, the market panned out exactly, almost to the pip as what I had forecasted. So hopefully you guys are taking advantage of some of these videos that I'm pumping out for you. And I'm going to keep this week's fairly short because we have lots of bank holidays right now. It is obviously the Easter weekend, and it was Good Friday, so you had it's Sunday, Easter Sunday today. Last Friday, the end of the week, was Good Friday, and a lot of bank holidays and thus quiet market activity had pretty much predominated the charts. And then we've got Holiday Monday as well, which a lot of countries observe, obviously. We've got Euro bank holidays, French bank holidays, Aussie bank holidays, Italian bank holidays. We have the UK interbank holiday, and the Canadian dollar's a bank holiday. So lots of banking holidays. Now, we don't have a US bank holiday. From what I can see here, so I'm assuming it's going to be business as unusual in the U.S. because everything down there, well, not everything, but a lot of the businesses and states in the U.S. are all starting to go into lockdown as well, too. So definitely interesting times that we're in currently. Now, looking at the economic calendar ahead, other than the bank closures on Monday, the OPEC meetings, which I'll be talking about here at the end of this briefly, and then all of the high-impact news events for Wednesday, it's a relatively quiet week, which would be expected with a short week ahead of us here. So, going through this, nothing really to speak of on Tuesday. We've got some Australian news, medium news impact for Monday. And then Wednesday, we get into all the heavy stuff. We get into core retail sales for US dollar and retail sales meeting minutes. We get into high impact news events with monetary policy reports, bank rates for the Canadian dollar, and overnight rates. Now, they're not predicting any changes in the interest rates, and rightly so. The Canadian dollar just came out with a surprise interest rate reduction last month, so I can't imagine they would be following that up with another interest rate reduction. So we've got that, which should be status quo with the Canadian dollar, and then we've got Australian dollar news events, employment change and unemployment rate as of Wednesday night. And right now, again, you can see the economic employment change from previous to now. Obviously, Australian dollar is going to get hit, so we're going to probably see a little bit of a bounce in the Australian dollar. And as that goes forward, we're going to see the unemployment numbers for all of the countries pretty much come out here over the next couple of months that are just going to be staggering, and it's going to pretty much beat the currencies up pretty good. So just be careful of that. And then Thursday, we've got one high-impact news event with unemployment claims for the U.S. dollar, which, these numbers here that they're forecasting, I really don't believe these, to be honest with you. I think the real numbers are going to start hitting. They're probably just not reporting them right now. As mentioned before, it does take them about 30 days to report for previous, so we could see these down the road here in the next week or two. So let's get into the charts real quick. We have a US dollar chart up, and exactly as I mentioned to you folks, I was watching the high of 101.50, and more particularly this area in here, to see how price would react. And I had suggested that we were probably going to see a bounce lower, and that is exactly what we got last week. And I will go into a 4-hour. Now, this was the area that I was looking for price to come down into last week after we got up into here. I wanted to see if they want to raid the highs in here, and you can see they just sort of left those highs. So I'm going to leave that up on the chart here. Unless we fall below this low here, I think they're going to leave these lows. Excuse me, if they fall below this low here, I believe they will leave these these highs up in here intact and probably won't come back up for those. But if you see price staggering around in here and right in this area, right in here, back at this little consolidation level, we could get a bit of a bounce. So I wouldn't rule out price shooting all the way back up into here, rebalancing and then falling off. But I do like that price is falling off, especially they should be. The economic news coming out of the U.S. is not good, so the U.S. dollar should not be running higher. It should be getting weaker. And I'd like to see them below these lows here for the mid part of the week, and then probably down by $97 by the end of the week is what I'm looking for. If price shoots above, my line in the sand is 101.50. I just didn't change. That should be 101.50. If price shoots above 101.50 to the high side, then we can look at getting bullish and possibly seeing them run out these highs up here. But until then, I'm going to remain bearish. Anything under this level here, I think we're just going to see lower prices in the US dollar. And this week here, what I'd like to see them do is basically this. I'd like to see them come back up into this range here, not go higher than this consolidation range, and then continue lower. Now, again, we do not have a bank holiday in the US, and so we could see some activity going into Monday on the US dollar, which would be nice to see, given Friday's relatively muted price range. So where does that leave us? If US dollar is going to shoot down and we target lower lows on US dollar, obviously EurUsd, GbpUsd, AudUsd, and a couple of those other pairs are obviously going to run lower. So that's sort of what I'm anticipating for the week. Not a whole much more here to talk about. Like I say, if we do see this bounce up here, just watch this consolidation level. If this starts to give way, I would anticipate them running these highs, and we can certainly intraday trade for a move in euro or cable for them to run this high right in here. But just be careful and watch out for this guy and that guy right there. But I am anticipating a little bit of a run higher. Hopefully we get that. If not, price may just start falling off. And if that's the case, we can obviously just target lower lows. But my lows on the week, again, 97 is what I'm anticipating them to run down to, if we get a decent mover of a week. EurUsd. Basically, we had the same premise as what the US dollar was, but in reverse. We actually came down and retagged off of, see the lows in here and the lows in here, very symmetrical. In area of reversals, we had a reversal there, a shot higher. Price came down, ran the lows, came back up, ran right back down to the same level, and so far we're seeing some rejection. So now very, very similar to what the US dollar is doing, the very similar levels here. We had a very quiet week in the euro last week, which is kind of what I had anticipated happening. You can see the entire weekly range on the euro last week was only about 150 pips. We had some days on the euro in the past few weeks that were averaging 150 pips a day. So I'm hoping we're going to get back to some volatility here pretty soon. Going down to the hourly chart though, traded very, very nicely in here. We had price run down just below the old low right there. See that low there? Price came down, stabbed through it, and rejected, and we were off and running higher. What are we going to do here this week? So I'm really hoping that we get a bit of a break below these lows right there, and we see price rebalance down. I don't want to see price go any lower than 108.75 on the downside. That would be my low. If we get lower than 108.75, and we'd have to have a 1 hour candle close lower than 108.75 in order to change positions on the euro, but I believe we're going to see higher prices. But if we do see prices lower than 108.75, we can certainly target under here and under here for the week. But I think we're probably going to see higher prices. So I think we're going to see something in the neighborhood of this if we do get a range down below these lows here, and then a brief run higher. Hang on 1 second, folks. Sorry, it is particularly dry where I live in Canada, and the weather is very, very dry, and so I'm constantly having to take drinks of water here to keep my throat from getting too dry from talking here. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at for the euro. Now, target-wise on the week, I believe as long as we stay above 108.75, very good chance if we do see some of the upward expansion that I'm hoping it will make up for lost time, should be above this high here. That's going to be my target. Certainly these highs in here. I'm going to put a little bit of an X right here, which would come in at 110.40, which are these highs here. I'd expect at least a very minimal run up to 110.60, and that really only is, we're at 109.30, so that's really only 130 pips, folks. Not very much in the grand scheme of things with all the market volatility that we've had. If it should make that ground in relatively short order. But because it is a bit of a quiet week, I would also expect that, it may not be a huge range. Certainly this would be attainable, this area in here, that 130 pips at 110.40. But I'm holding out, I believe we're probably going to get up to more like a 111.40, 111.60. So I'm going to be watching for this high in here to see if we can get a break above. So again, I just like to see a quick run lower and then a shot higher, run above these highs, and then ultimately take this high out here. That's what I'm targeting for on the euro. If we break lower than 108, I'll be targeting these lows here. And if we get a real deep runner, which I doubt it, we can go down here. Okay. GbpUsd. So yeah, I was very bullish GbpUsd in relation to what the EurGbp is doing. If you guys understand the relationship between those two pairs, you'll understand why we're seeing higher prices in GbpUsd. I believe ultimately we will get above 132. We got a little bit of ground to cover to get there. I was very excited with this nice breakout run right here. It only took them about 3 or 4 days to cover about 900 pips. And I was hoping we'd see another 3 or 4 days and we'd be above that high there. Not the case, unfortunately. We had a bit of a retracement and price was consolidating, and we're really banging up into this level right in here. It's just a matter of time, folks. We could see price drop one more time, but it is just a matter of time where they're going to shoot above these highs here, and then we're going to run up. And at the very least, I think we could be running up into 127.20s, which would be just the low of this little consolidation level in here, maybe in the lows in here. For the target on the week, but I'm hoping we get some momentum higher and we're going to see 132. We're not going to shoot up there by this week. Could take a couple weeks. Even by the end of April, we could be trading above here, but that is certainly where I'm looking. I'm going to keep that on the chart. What changes this? If anything goes below really this line right here, well, you know what? We could get a bit of a retracement. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative, and I'm going to say this level down in here. So if we go below 109, 109, 119, 1900 basically on the downside. If we go below there, then I'm not going to be as bullish on cable. I believe we're going to see continued higher prices. I don't want to see price come all the way down there. We could certainly run down. They've come up and they've left lows in here and then another low here. And a bit of an area that they could want to clean up back down in here at the 120 levels. Certainly long ways away. We're at 124. So I think the likelihood of them coming all the way down here is slim. But we've got to keep it on the charts and make sure we know if they do start diving, where are they headed for and what could they possibly be doing. They could clean this area up here. But I'd like to see them stay above and stay up into here. They've spent a lot of time working this area and slowly grinding higher. I want to see them just drop down just slightly, kind of right into about the 12400 level. Maybe even 124.20 level, somewhere in there. Gather some longs, and then I want to see this thing shoot above these highs here. This is ultimately what my target is. I got to extend this line out as well. There we go, right there. So that's the ultimate target. But I believe once we break through these highs here, I think as long as it doesn't turtle soup, which is just a quick run up here and a rejection and then a run lower, we should be up into the lows of this consolidation level in here very shortly, and I'm hoping this week. So that could possibly be about a 300 pip range to the upside. Okay. Again, what changes that, if we start breaking below this low here, I'll be watching for them to come down and rebalance, possibly at the 120.40 level. If they go lower than that, this is my ultimate line in the sand right in here. If we start trading back through this little price pattern in here, I'm not so bullish on GBP for the next little while. Okay. EurGBP, the relationship between EurUsd and GbpUsd. I believe we're going to see continued lower prices. We are stalling in here and consolidating. So what's going to happen if they keep this price locked in here, going back and forth in a very tight range like we've seen so far? We could see a hold on GbpUsd. They could keep it in this range, and in which case what they're going to do is manipulate EurUsd, and we're probably going to see higher prices. Typically what we see is EurGBP, if that is running higher, it will take EurUsd with it without a problem, and they'll hold GbpUsd in consolidation. Let me say that one more time. If GBP runs higher, it should take EurUsd up with it, and it would consolidate GbpUsd. The opposite reigns true. If GBP goes down, GbpUsd should go up, or EurUsd should go down. We can obviously see EurUsd is not going down. EurGBP going down, big down spike here. EurUsd uptrend. So they're manipulating EurUsd while they move GbpUsd higher. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm getting some of my bias from on those two pairs. So have a look at that. Okay, USDCad slowly starting to fall off. Really want to see them break lower. I want to see that if we can get lower than 138.60, basically this line right here. If we can get below this level right in here, I believe a very good chance they're going to come in and fill this gap in. I've been waiting very, very patiently for them to fill this gap in. Now could be the time. US dollar also ties very closely with crude oil, and as I'll be talking about here in a second, crude oil should see some higher prices here very soon. The higher the price in crude oil, the lower the price in UsCad, because it's going to strengthen the Canadian dollar and thereby reduce the price of UsCad. Okay, so this is my ultimate target down here, but we got to get through this 138.60 level in order to get down there. I think once we get down there, which we're pretty close now, I think we're only about 100, yeah, pretty much right on 100 pips away from that. And once we get lower than that and we see a daily candle close, I'm going to sell short and get into here on my demo account, of course. Aussie USD. Sorry, and I haven't been doing a lot with CAD. I'll just reiterate this one more time. I haven't been doing a lot with CAD in the past couple of weeks because of this big block of price right here. It's just been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. A little bit of a drop and back and forth and back and forth. So this right now is nothing that I like to trade in. There are some folks out there that love to trade those types of markets. I am not one of them. So if you're looking for trade ideas on these types of consolidation trades, really the best I can tell you to do would be to slap an RSI on your chart and just trade. Go short when it gets up to 75 and go long when it gets down to 25, and let the rest do what it wants to do. That's about all I'm going to offer on that. I obviously trade it in a little more detail, but I don't. I'm not going to get into it here. And this is not pretty to trade. This is ugly. I don't like that kind of stuff. So, moving on. Aussie USD. This technically has been trading very, very nicely. We had price stab down. We ran those monthly lows right there from all the way back in January of 2000. All the way back into late 2008, early 2009. Stabbed down and rejected very, very quickly. I like to see that. And price has really been moving. Like, look at that, from that low to that high. Like, it's been almost 1,000 pips on Aussie. Very impressive. Aussie is not known to move that much distance in a short period of time, and it really made short order of it here. So I am anticipating higher prices. I want to see Aussie get up and get back above these levels in here. I believe there's a good chance it can do it. We're already starting to trade up into this range in here, so I'd like to see them push higher. Again, what changes this? If we start breaking below this level right here, The old highs in here, I don't want to see them come back down and go deep into that. If that does happen, I'll leave it a little bit. I won't trade it, but I'll wait and see what it wants to do, because they could want to take out this low. And if they take out this low, then that means that this low here potentially could get run again. So what I do want to see them do is basically come back down, retrace Monday, Tuesday into this old high in here, maybe a little bit lower, and then shoot up higher. That's what I'd love to see Aussie do right there. So that's the idea. Let me get rid of some of the paraphernalia on this chart here, kind of cluttering it up a little bit. I don't want to see price go back lower than this consolidation range here. Just a quick trade back down and then a rejection and a run higher. Really don't want to see it go lower than that consolidation. So I'll just kind of put this level at 162.20 on the chart. Want to see prices anything above 162.20 on bullish. If we do, however, run shy of that, I'll be watching this level in here if we go lower, and then we'll have to see what Aussie wants to do from there. So targets going forward, like I say, 64.60, I believe, on the upside. Nice 200 plus pips from current location, I think would be a good place to start on Aussie, and I think it should easily be attainable this week, as long as they don't hold it in consolidation, of course. And I should mention as well too, and again, I'm not trading the USCAD this week, but we do have that interest rate announcement on USCAD, so just be careful on that midweek as well too. I just want to make sure that you're aware of that. And that's it for Forex. So real quickly, to wrap this up, before I do actually talk about that, I want to talk about gold, which has been rallying very nicely lately. They shot straight down, and I was a little upset though that they didn't take out these lows here. I was really hoping we would have saw them come back in, rebalance under these lows, and then shoot higher. Haven't got that yet. So I want to see what happens when we get back up to here, if they double top it and then send it back down, or if we start to see some continuation. Anything above that high, it's bullish. I think we could go up to 1800. But I'm not going to buy it right at its current level. We got to wait for a little bit more information. You may say, Steve, that's crazy. You should be buying it and getting all over it right now. Well, I'm a different trader than you then, obviously. I'm going to wait for a little more information. If I was going to buy it, would have been down into here, and I didn't trade it last week because of the uncertainty in US dollar. I wanted to see it drop. We got that confirmation. We finally, late in the week, got the rally up on gold. But in my opinion, this stagnation in here kind of took a little bit too long. So I didn't do anything. Call me too overly cautious. It doesn't matter. Very, very wicky in here as well, too. I'm going to watch this in here. See these lows right here? I'm going to watch to see if they want to come back down under those lows. Mainly, to be honest with you guys, a lot of wicks in here. And really, I don't like that. I like nice, clear, concise price action to trade in, and not really seeing that with a whole lot of stuff that I saw with on gold last week and the previous week. So kind of leads me to believe that they could shoot it down one more time. We'll have to wait and see. But so far, very, very nice bullish activity on gold. I just wanted to let you guys know if you haven't been watching gold. Finally, crude oil. OPEC finally reached a deal. Everybody got together, all the oil-producing nations, for about a 4-day, I think it started on Wednesday, went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I think they took a break on Saturday, finally reconvened Sunday, and they decided, okay, after all of this BS in the market and oversupplying the market, we're finally going to reduce production. Yay, hey. They got a deal. So they're going to cut somewhere in the neighborhood of 9.2 million barrels. It was either 9.2 or 9.7 million barrels off the market. Everybody's agreed to it, so it should shoot price higher. However, don't get too excited. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of oil in storage currently because of all the production that they've been pumping the market full of the past 3 weeks. So it's going to take a little bit of while to burn through those reserves. So I am not anticipating oil to be back up in here next week, but could be a different conversation in May. I am bullish on oil now that we've finally reached that agreement. I believe that the low hopefully has been set at $19.25 on this chart. Hopefully we don't go lower than that, and this last little push down here is hopefully going to be the last little leg. But again, I don't believe it's going to be a straight shot up to here. The market's going to have to gain a little bit of strength moving forward, and possibly we could, let me take out these day dividers. I wanted to see price come down and fill this range in right here. We got that, so I can check this off now. We got that late last Friday into here. So far, prices opened up on Sunday, shot down and rejected so far. We do have some lows under here, of course. I think it's going to be a bit of a shot to get it, but keep in mind they could want to come down. I say the low has been set at 1925 in here. I hope that's the case. Keep in mind they could shoot it down one more time, okay? If they come out with inventory news reports this week and then they say, oh, we're just so oversupplied, there's floating storage, it's everywhere, red oil coming out of our ears, don't be surprised if they send it down below here one more time before they rally it up higher. Because that's what everybody's looking for, is a big giant rally on crude oil. And price rebounds nicely right in that gap right there as well too. On Friday to close back down. Now, I believe this week, I don't think we're going to see that shot lower. Keep in mind crude inventory news middle of the week, and we'll see what crude wants to do. But I'm very hopeful that the deal was reached. We're going to start to see bullish prices on crude, and we can start getting back to business with crude oil here, because this is a great market to trade when it trends. So far, this is not a nice trending market. This is pretty ugly, so I've stayed out of crude oil, but I think we're starting to come to an end to that very shortly. So that's it. That's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up, a like, a comment, share it out. Check me out, f45trading.com, if you got some value out of this and you want to learn more. I'm here to help, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I will have another weekly review for you next Sunday. Again, I apologize for not getting one out last week, and that won't be happening again. It is business as usual, of course. And to all my members, I will talk to you guys in the chat room tomorrow. Have a great week of trading. Thanks for watching.